Hey everybody, welcome to my channel here, Hawkeye Reactions. So in light of 9/11, I wanted to react to a few different 9/11 videos I've never seen before, or just stories I've never heard of. And on one of my videos I posted, I was asked if I had ever heard the story of Gander. Um, and I was like, no, I have not. So um, I was told I should react to this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, you guys. I am going to be reacting to the story of Gander. I guess it's a very tiny town, I was told. I think it's Newfoundland or Canada or something. I'm not exactly sure if that's all the same thing. I don't even know. I'm not very good at geography. We'll find out, though. But the title is The Tiny Town That Became a Beacon of Hope on 9/11. And this was on a 60 Minutes in Australia, I guess. So it's like a 16 and a half minutes, almost 17 minutes. But, you know, I hope you stick with me for this. And in honor and respect of everybody who, unfortunately perished that day. It was a tragic day. But the only, there was some good things that came out of it. If there was anything, like you just saw a lot of people coming together to try to help each other. Because that's what, normal humans would do, I would think, in a time of crisis, is you want to help your neighbor, help other people, and it's kind of inspiring to see. And unfortunately, it takes something like this to happen to have that happen. But we still have to try to think of something positive out of a negative here. I mean, that's the way my mind thinks. I'm always trying to think positive. I'm a half glass full kind of guy. And that's just the way I feel. So let's get into this, you guys. I'll probably not pause it too much because it's a longer video, but I'm very curious to find out about this town of Gander and what the heck happened that day in that town. So let's go.
Of the September 11 attacks is understandably a time of deep sadness as the world remembers an act of evil that's still hard to believe. But for some, it's also a chance to celebrate the opposite: kindness, compassion, and the very best of humanity. In the mayhem of the day that saw terror raining from the skies, American airspace was shut down, and a tiny town in a remote part of northeastern Canada suddenly found itself the destination for commercial passenger aircraft ordered to land immediately. 7,000 plain people with nowhere else to go were about to discover the delights of the wonderful community of Gander.
7,000? That's a lot of planes.
Rugged and remote, the Canadian island of Newfoundland is as sparse as it is spectacular.
Wow, that's beautiful.
As far east as it's possible to get on the continent of North America, it's the last frontier before the expanse of the North Atlantic Ocean. It's here you find Gander, a sleepy town with a big heart. 20 years...
Hey, they got a McDonald's.
Here you find Gander, a sleepy town with a big heart. 20 years ago, this quirky community became the most unlikely hero of the terror attacks of September 11.
At the time of the greatest evil, we saw an outpouring of unbelievable humanity.
We're really lucky, and we know it.
5 or 6 days that have stayed with you for the rest of your lives.
Yes.
See, these are the stories.
It all began on that unforgettable, unthinkable September day. As the realisation dawned that hijacked passenger planes were being used as weapons of mass destruction.
We're shutting the airplanes down. We're not letting anyone go right now.
Air traffic controllers scrambled to shut down US airspace for the first time in history, as yet another plane hit.
We're putting ground stop on everything. There's a second plane that just hit the World Trade Center.
More than 4,000 aircraft were ordered to turn around or land as quickly as possible. For international flights caught over the Atlantic, there was no turning back. Hundreds were rerouted to Canada, including United Airlines Flight 9.
I couldn't imagine being a flight attendant that day, and the bravery and just the brain power it would take to maneuver all these planes off a different course, get them landed as quick as possible. You got to be very, very smart to be an air traffic controller. Like, I feel like that should be one of the highest paying jobs out there. One of the most stressful jobs. I can't imagine having all those lives in your hands trying to direct the traffic up there. That's insane. That's insane. I did job shadow an air traffic tower in the town I grew up in, thinking out of high school, like, I possibly wanted to be like an air traffic controller, and nope. Don't even have half the brain power for that. So kudos to anybody who's an air traffic controller or knows somebody who's an air traffic controller, and thank you for what you do, because it's a very hard job keeping that many people alive. So
were rerouted to Canada, including United Airlines Flight 929, with Australians Ian and Julia Campbell on board.
We noticed the aircraft was descending, and the captain came on eventually and told everybody that there'd been an incident in the United States and we were being diverted to Gander.
Newfoundland, where great airships roar across the runways at Gander Field, gateway to the Western world.
Gander Airport was one.
can anybody tell me if this town is based off of like the store Gander Mountain? I know there's a store, like an outdoorsy sports store called Gander Mountain. Does that have anything to do with Gander, Newfoundland, or I just don't know. I'm probably not. I just curious, but I'm sure it's not. But I'm just curious if anybody knows.
Gander Field, gateway to the Western world.
Gander Airport was once the largest on Earth, a base for Allied aircraft during the Second World War and the main testing site for Concorde. By 2001, its glory days had long since gone. But that day, over the space of 3 extraordinary hours, the planes just kept coming.
When we were landing, there were people lined up by the side of the airport, and they were just kind of clinging onto the cyclone fence.
They were out there. I'll never forget it. People were standing on the bonnets of their cars.
Yeah.
They were taking photos. That's when we realised that, there's something
more than
really big going on.
38 commercial airliners with 7,000 passengers landed in quick succession.
Hold on, how many? Sorry, I missed it.
With 7,000 passengers.
Fail.
38 commercial
38.
airliners with 7,000 passengers landed in quick succession. For locals who'd flocked to the airport in droves, it was an unforgettable sight.
Every plane that we had was treated as a bomb, so they had to stay at the tarmac. People weren't allowed off or anything. So it was probably 7 or 8 hours. In 9 hours, we realized that, hey, those people aren't going anywhere soon.
With the influx of unexpected guests, in a few short hours, Gander's population almost doubled, setting a Herculean challenge for the mayor at the time, Claude Elliott. Being the mayor, you're the big boss in town, right? So...
Yeah, well, so they say.
And you had a lot of logistics to deal with. Were you pulling your hair out at this stage going, how am I meant to feed these people, house these people, look after these people?
I had my job to do, and I didn't have to worry about people not being looked after. I knew the people in my community would take care of all that.
Julia and Ian's Boeing 777 was the 22nd plane to land in Gander.
Wish I could say the same about the United States right now, you guys. I will say the Canadians are some of the nicest people. I've been to Canada numerous times when I was younger, and I just remember going to stores and shops and a lake to fish, and they were just the kindest people. And I'll just leave it at that. But it's sad to say that I don't, at this day and age right now. There's a lot of friendly people in the United States, but we are so divided as a country and the direction we're going right now that I would advise not to come. If you ever think about coming here, please don't. I care about you too much, and that's why I'm saying do not come to the United States. I can literally tell you that. There's too much going on right now. It's too crazy. Too many nuts out there on both sides of the aisle, you guys. But in particular, I just don't want to see any of you mistreated. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way our country is right now. So after this is over, this nightmare, if it ever is, I will welcome you always, but as will many other Americans. But as of right now, don't. Please stay away. In fact, I wish I could move to Canada right now, but it's a process to move. I do need to get a new passport though, just in case I need to flee and claim asylum somewhere here in the next year or two. But we'll see.
Julia and Ian's Boeing trip.
Let me know. Is there anybody in Canada that I can move in with if I need to? Let me know. I'll make videos. I'll pay some rent.
777 was the 22nd plane to land in Gander. They would spend the next 26 tortuous hours on the tarmac, some of the last on Earth to learn of the terror attacks from radio reports fed through the plane's audio system.
We had received a report through our communication lines that what would appear to be maybe a terrorist activity or hijacking has occurred.
It was quite horrific to hear it being piped in and just listening to the events as they unfold there in New York and elsewhere.
We were just grief-stricken, just as the rest of the world obviously had been earlier in the day.
As they finally emerged into the Gander sunshine, the scale of what was going on finally hit them.
It wasn't until you actually got to the bottom of the stairs and then you did the 360 and looked around at these huge aircraft all around you. That to me was just, something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I bet.
The passengers filed into the airport terminal, hungry, exhausted, and full of uncertainty.
At the time, it was quite scary, and it was a lot of trepidation and anxiety because we just didn't know what was going to happen to us.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what the future held.
The passengers, fondly known as the Plane People, came from 95 different countries, from all walks of life. Some didn't speak English. Others had never heard of Canada, let alone Gander. All were immediately welcomed by a special brand of Newfoundland compassion.
I guess the biggest challenge for the Plane People, they were just wondering if this was real, or are those people setting us up? Are they going to rob us, or what are they going to do? Because most of them had never experienced the kindness and generosity that they were receiving.
Chicken and beef and turkey and ham.
By now, an operation of military precision was in full swing. With Gander overflowing, communities close by pitched in. In the tiny village of Gambo, at the Salvation Army Church, Teresa Antonetti was getting ready for the challenge of a lifetime.
I remember getting the call saying, "You have to get our church ready for 198 passengers."
And what was your reaction in that moment?
Where do I begin?
Like their fellow passengers, Ian and Julia had to leave their luggage behind, so had little more than the clothes on their backs.
We were taken to Salvation Army Church, which was to be our refuge for the next 5 days.
And there were double beds waiting.
Oh, yes.
Double beds.
Five-star accommodation. Actually, it was 5-star, really.
Like every other available space in the area, Gambo's church became a massive dormitory. The men slept on the pews, the women in military camp beds. But Gambo Church was much more than just board and lodging.
I felt they just needed somebody to be there for them. They just needed a friendly smile. They just needed a welcoming face.
The Plane People may have been complete strangers, but to the Gander community, they were simply people in need.
We had 9,300 people living in town, and I would venture to say that 6,000 of them was volunteering at something. When that all came together, what seemed like a monumental task was really not.
Did you get much sleep, though, that week?
I never went home for 5 days.
Wow. This is incredible,
For
you
a
guys.
tiny community, the numbers were huge. Not only beds for 7,000, but 285,000 meals. The ingenuity was also outsized, with even their precious ice hockey rink transformed.
At the time, the ice was on the rink, and we said, well, let's use that as a refrigerator, and we stored all the food
Good idea.
on the rink. I always say we had the largest walk-in refrigerator in Newfoundland.
Or perhaps anywhere.
Yeah, probably.
For a community nearly 2,000 kilometres from New York, the terror strikes felt so much closer when two of their visitors shared news of the loss of their son.
We had a couple here in Gander that had a son who was a firefighter in New York. They found his body in the stairwell. So, you know, that was very emotional. All of a sudden, those people were like family to you. And not only did they have a tragic loss, but the community felt a great sense of loss.
And already stranded far from home, Julia and Ian also had their own shocking news to deal with. Ian and Julia Campbell were stranded in Newfoundland when, in the midst of the trauma of the 9/11 attacks, they got news their son Hamish was in trouble on a surfing holiday.
We had found out that our son, who was in Indonesia at the time, had a staph infection, and he had been told by the doctors in Indonesia that his foot should be amputated.
Not a time when you want to be in one of the most remote places on the planet.
No.
I was devastated. Not only were they dealing with everything that was happening in New York City and being in this small town that they knew nothing about, now they had their own things to deal with.
Teresa Antonetti, who ran the Salvation Army Church, turned out to be their angel, helping them coordinate an airlift for their son.
We did manage to get Hamish flown back to Sydney, and he managed to, have his foot saved. We're really grateful.
You still feel that gratitude that keenly?
Yeah.
For all the Plain people, there was much stress and anxiety. But over 5 days of heartwarming hospitality, the people of Gander and Gambo not only nurtured, but also entertained. Forging deep friendships and bonds before it was finally time to go.
On the first day, we had 7,000 strangers. On the third day, we had 7,000 friends. And on the fifth day, we lost 7,000 family members. That's how close we became to those people.
It was a very emotional time saying goodbye to each other.
I hope they still stay in touch somehow, like a lot of them. I know a lot of them probably haven't, and a lot of them have probably passed away now, guys. I mean, this was 24 years ago now, and I mean, some of the people in these videos look like they were already, 70s, 80s. But man, I hope some of them stayed in touch over the years, and I'm sure some of them have. But this is just an insane story.
We became to those people.
It was a very emotional time saying goodbye to each other because we obviously had come to know these people very, very closely, and it was a sad time to say goodbye.
Now living in Ottawa, Teresa hasn't been back to Gambo's church for the best part of 2 decades.
Wow, nothing has changed in 20 years, really.
Wow.
Why was it so easy? Why did it come so naturally to you and your community to help these people, these absolute strangers?
That's the only way we know how to be. We didn't even give it a second thought. We just went into work mode and we did it.
That's what you got to do.
And this is Teresa.
Yeah.
The lovely Teresa who took care of everybody.
Yes.
To Ian and Julia, Teresa epitomises the care and compassion of the Newfoundland people. But it's Teresa who is grateful.
The whole experience that week, it was such a reward for us to be able to show people in need really what we could do for them and how we could help.
Teresa has not seen Ian and Julia since that last farewell. Would you like to see them again?
Absolutely.
But today, thanks to a little technology, they have the next best thing. Well, I've found 2 of your friends, just hiding here.
Hi, Teresa.
Hello, wonderful lady. How are you?
You were amazing. You know how much we appreciated everything you did. And We miss you, and honestly, if we're going to desperately try to get back there next year.
Does that surprise you after 20 years that those feelings are still so strong?
No. It was such a strong feeling at the time that it's impossible for it to go away. And to this day, whenever I see anything or I hear anything from any of the passengers, you can feel the tugging on the heartstrings again.
And next to it is a town called Gander. There's a 2-person police department,
An elementary school.
An SPCA, a local TV station.
Yeah, I heard they made
it's a small place on a giant rock in the ocean.
Such is the power of the Gander story. It's been
Broadway.
turned into a smash musical that's wowed here and around the world. A celebration of the very best of humanity in the midst of the very worst.
This is insane.
For former Mayor Claude Elliott, it's a time his community can never forget. When you speak to the people who experience the kindness and compassion of the Gander community, Gander will always have a precious place in their heart. How was Gander ultimately affected by the plain people?
I think the one thing that we've learned from it is never take what you have for granted, because you never know what might happen.
That's very true. Very true.
Wow, it's hard to believe that it's been 20 years.
I'll be the first one to admit, I probably take a lot for granted, you know? I take my house for granted, my cats, you know, like my family probably even, you know? Like, because you never know when it's all gonna just end. And yeah, this is a great reminder to just be so thankful for what we do have, even when it's hard out there in this world. And, you know, that's what keeps me going. You guys keep me going. You know, you're a wonderful distraction from the everyday world out there, and I'm hoping my videos are somewhat of a distraction for you guys as well. And we're just here for each other. I'm always here for you. Just remember that.
Wow, it's hard to believe that it's been 20 years.
For Ian and Julia and the other plain people, it was an unexpected twist of fate that took them to a faraway land. An experience that left an indelible mark for the very best of reasons. One that has lasted a lifetime.
I think perhaps we've been inspired by our experience. We've been inspired to perhaps lift our game and be kinder to other people too, kinder to strangers, and that was what was given to us.
Thank you, Gander and Gambo.
Yeah. The warm-hearted kindness of these unbelievable people was amazing.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new...
Guys, that was absolutely an amazing story. I am so grateful. So grateful to see that. Rebecca, thanks. Thank you so much for that suggestion. And I know there was another 9/11 video about a yellow ribbon or something that I'm going to check out as well. So stay tuned for that. I haven't heard of any of these stories. The boat lift one I reacted to was insane. This one's insane, you guys. It's insane that like I didn't even know about these. Like these need to be more popular stories. We need to hear the good out of all this, you know, like 20, 25 years later, and I hadn't heard of any of these. Like, it's insane, you guys. But better late than never. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for all of you who tune in to my videos and just watch me react to shit. I can't even believe it. So I love you guys. I always will. I'll always be grateful for this channel and for you guys. And if there's ever anything you need, just reach out. I always say this in a lot of my videos. Reach out in the comments. You know, if we need an email, text, we'll find a way. If you need anything at all, just let me know. I'm always here, so I'm always around. So I will just see you guys on the next video. If you could like this for me, that'd be great. And I'll see you. I love you. Bye.